What is happening, beautiful people of the YouTube? We are back with episode number 9, 10 now of Road to Prep. It's getting pretty mental now. Actually, we are, as of today, 40 days away from starting prep. Today is the 17th of December? 17th of December. We start prepping the 26th of January. It's kind of crazy. It's all coming to fruition now, and I'm very, very excited to obviously document that throughout the YouTube. Obviously, we'll have show day vids. I don't know why I just abbreviated vids. Show day videos coming at you. Got the 6 shows planned. I'll just run through that now as well. We have got the UK DFBA Heart of England teens and first timers. WNBF first timers and novice, but doing the novice class for that one, as would have already competed the week prior. Then we have got PCA Naturals 3 in Derby, PCA Naturals 4 in Kettering, the BNBF Scottish in the Motherland on the 6th of September up in Perth, and then finishing off with PCA Ireland over in Derry. So yeah, that will be very, very fun. 6 shows lined up, 31 weeks of prep. We'll be really excited, and I can't wait to obviously document it on here as well as obviously over on the Instagram as well. And obviously maintain, the good level of transparency. I just noticed I've got the plaster here. It's wall wounds, but yeah, and yeah, maintain, as I say, that level of transparency. Giving my honest opinions, and being able to display my experiences with X, Y or Z within prep. So yeah, I do look forward to that. But today's video is how to make the best meal plan for yourself, how to make it optimal, how to make it the best for you. But yeah, obviously I just wanted to kind of dive into this because I see it all the time. Obviously I could nitpick at everything, but some people's meals are kind of not a kick in the arse off, a shocking. So yeah, just sort of diving into the basics of how to make the best meal plan for yourself. And again, I hope that you'll be able to walk away from this video with the knowledge to then obviously create your own meal plan. Again, any questions, DMs are always open on Instagram as well. So when it comes to programming your meal plan, the sort of first kind of steps are to assess obviously where you are within, is it a diet phase, are you gaining, and obviously within that your macronutrients and calorie intake. So what I would suggest doing first is getting your protein intake. I've got my 3 favourite sources of each macronutrient. So for protein, picked whey. It's kind of boring realistically, but you want to sort that out. Realistically, it's going to be dependent on which phase you're in. So between 1 gram per pound to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight, as I say, depending on what phase you're in. Realistically, if you're just starting a diet, you maybe want to be on the higher end of that sort of scale. If you're just starting gaining, you maybe want to be on the lower end of the scale to allow obviously to then, when trace protein gets pushed up, your protein will obviously push up with that, and vice versa with a diet. When you are bringing food down, you'll be taking away majority from carbohydrates, and that's obviously going to take away some trace protein too. So yeah, that's the sort of rough guidance with protein. What I like to go for as well, I'm sort of on the higher end of things, obviously, because I'm just about to start my prep, sitting at 250 grams of protein, and that is a lot realistically for a 66 kilogram person. But as I say, it's just obviously that when we pull from carbohydrates, obviously trace protein will get pulled from as well, which is obviously going to bring down that total protein. But yeah, that is protein. Then, sorting out your fat intake. We've got a bag of halloumi cheese here. If you know me, follow me on Instagram, you'll see that nearly every off-plan meal I have will include some amount of cheese, because I love it. It's great. It digests well as well for me. For a lot of people it won't, but for me it does. So I love cheese. Looking at around 0.3 to 0.5 grams of dietary fat per pound of body weight. Again, obviously digestion dependent, appetite dependent. And again, you can sort of use fats as a kind of like a different sort of tool as well. Obviously, when you're gaining, fats are going to allow you to make your meals a lot more palatable. And again, obviously, if appetite is an issue, then that will help almost kind of solve that in a way. But obviously, making sure that you have a variety of different fat sources. So this, we've got halloumi cheese here, a saturated fat source. You obviously want to get your polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, you know, consuming a wide range of fats. You know, you can list off some examples, like some fatty fish, so you're looking at like a salmon, avocado, dark chocolate, you know, cheese, like beef mince and stuff like that. Like there's just a sort of keeping like a wide variety so that you tick all the boxes. But one that I would say, you obviously won't be eating fish every day realistically unless you're made of fucking money. So it'd be good to obviously invest in some sort of omega-3, 6, 9 fish oil. Again, just going to obviously top you up with that like essential fatty acids that your body again does not produce. So you obviously need to, you know, get that from an external source, and that is obviously either supplementation or food. Last but not least, my favourite carb source would have to be pasta. Again, if you follow the Instagram, you know I am fond of my creamy chicken pasta meal. It's been in now daily for, it would honestly be over a year, but I took it out for a period of time because I just couldn't be arsed cooking it realistically. And again, that was a bit of a mistake because I was having chicken and rice 3 times a day, which was kind of boring. But yeah, we've got this. Carbohydrates, realistically, this is not really going to be, there's not really like a rough guidance that I would give realistically. This is just going to make up the rest of your calories where you want to be and which phase you're in. Obviously from the protein and the fat you will have calories, the calories that come from that, obviously 4 calories per gram of protein, 9 calories per gram of dietary fat, whereas obviously carbs, they are the same again as protein. 1 gram is 4 calories. So yeah, carbs making up the rest of your total calories. Again, obviously the main, your body's main sort of source of energy. It's obviously going to be able to, you drive this up when you're obviously pushing body weight, you're gaining phase, bulking, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's often the thing that gets pulled down first as well when it comes to dieting. So yeah, that is it for sort of rough guidances of macronutrients. Should probably touch on fibre as well. Realistically, we've got some bananas to my right here. Fibre is obviously going to be really important, more so and most important from like a digestive sort of standpoint. Again, obviously forming your shits so they're not too hard, so they're not too soft realistically. But yeah, looking at around 10 to 12 grams per 1,000 calories, but again, that's obviously a rough guidance. For myself, I think I am on maybe 4,300 calories on a training day, and I have 40 grams of fibre around about that. And again, maybe 3,800 on a non-training day, and it's round about that 38, 39, 40 grams of fibre. And again, that is what works for me, and I have found that out through trial and error. That's realistically what you have to do when it comes to nutrition. A lot of the time is just try things out. It's trial and error. You don't know unless you try realistically, and it's what you kind of have to do obviously within the realms. You got these rough guidances, and then you can obviously trial and error a lot of different stuff as well. So yeah, that is all from a sort of macronutrient intake. Next, we're going to go over the actual sort of logistics of a meal plan. You know, what's important, what should be held in higher regard in comparison to other things, and what is commonly, you know, held in higher regard to other variables that maybe shouldn't actually be. So yeah, I'll see you soon. So we are back at the desk. This is where all the magic happens with regards to coaching work and getting my own Instagram stuff documented. So yeah, we are back. Obviously, as I said, we were going to talk over, you know, what's actually important when it comes to a meal plan, and where do people most so go wrong. Now, if you're, some people may know this, some people might not. This may be something new to you, as I say, but I'm going to talk about the nutritional hierarchy of importance. So this is like a kind of table chart, tier list, if you must, of things, variables listed in order of importance. So obviously things further down the list are of less importance and therefore should not violate the variables higher on the list. Realistically, like I'm going to try and give you an example of this. You know, focusing on training with like focusing on like the perfect sort of training, you know how when you see people with the fucking foam rollers on their arm and stuff like that, doing the most optimal exercises, but failing to sleep 8 hours a night. Again, that's like trying to run before you can crawl sort of stuff. So this is basically what it is, when something lower on the list violates something higher. So yeah, without further ado, let's get cracking into it. So the number one most important thing when it comes to your meal plan, and this can be applied to just the process as a whole, but the most important thing when it comes to your meal plan is sustainability and adherence. So obviously you have to enjoy to a certain extent the foods that you eat. Again, it's just going to be able to increase that level of adherence for the most part, realistically, but obviously again this kind of differentiates from person to person, like from kind of lifestyle athlete to just like an aspiring competitor stroke obviously competitive bodybuilder. But yeah, like, because I know myself, like, I am not to obviously kind of blow my own trumpet, but I'm kind of willing to do whatever it takes from an eating standpoint. I would eat anything realistically to get to where I want to be, but for the large majority of people, I know that's not the case. So that's obviously when sustainability, adherence, and sort of enjoyment of your meals obviously comes into things. But yeah, that's basically, you obviously just want to kind of find that balance as well when it comes to like off-plan meals. Are you having one a week? Are you having two a week? Are you having one where you kind of match it? Or are you having another one where it's kind of just like an actual, like a kind of more sort of a cheat meal? Again, obviously finding that balance is so important. Again, that's what I like to strike when it comes to clients and stuff like that, etc, etc. So yeah, next on the list, number 2 is calories. So obviously so important, is this is obviously going to determine whether you're in a calorie surplus, deficit, whether you're gaining, dieting, etc, etc. Going to determine your body composition for the most part, and recovery capabilities, and a lot more stuff as well. So yeah, obviously your total calories for the day, your total energy intake is going to be second most of importance when it comes to nutrition, for the reasons just presented. Third on the list would be macronutrients. Obviously we just spoke about there, you probably will know yourself that obviously the macronutrients you eat are kind of like a subheading of calories realistically, because the macronutrients obviously have calorie contributions. Obviously, as I said, protein 1 gram 4 calories, carbs 1 gram 4 calories, fat 1 gram 9 calories. That will then obviously contribute to your overall energy intake. But obviously macronutrients is the sort of referring to the split of the sort of calories realistically, and again this is obviously going to be of the utmost importance realistically if you want to be getting the most out of your training and you want to be progressing in the right direction. So yeah, next on the list is food sources and micronutrients. So number 4, again, food sources kind of ties in with macronutrients, but obviously micronutrients as well. Food sources, again, it kind of ties in with being able to see foods not as just face value. So say for example, you don't just look at oats and go, oh, they're a carb source and that's all they are. No, because obviously you can look a little bit deeper. Fibre, etc. You could look at cheese, vitamin B, calcium, etc, etc. Being able to look at food sources deeper than just what meets the eye. Obviously what meets the eye, what I'm referring to there is the macronutrients, but obviously micronutrients as well, obviously contributing to just like a healthy body. A healthy body is a productive one. So yeah, that is number 4 on the nutritional list of hierarchy of importance. Number 5 is nutrient / meal timing. So when you take the timing of your macronutrients, again, this kind of, it sways of levels of importance depending on which phase you're in. For example, timing of carbohydrates matters a lot more in a dieting sort of setting than it would in a gaining phase. Obviously gaining phase, assuming your food is high. Right now my food is at 675 grams of carbs. Realistically, I'm not going to have to worry about my glycogen stores not being full. Realistically, they're going to be full all the time, apart from just obviously post training. Whereas if you're in a dieting phase, you've got less carbohydrates available and obviously then less glycogen production. It's literally just as simple as that, less glycogen storage in your muscles. So you kind of need to be a little bit more meticulous when it comes to that. But yeah, that is number 5 on the nutritional hierarchy of importance. And number 6, the most common violator of all of the above variables, is supplements. Again, obviously this is for a large variety of reasons, but I think the main one is obviously the way that supplements are marketed. It's cool. You see people that are sponsored by X, Y, or Z promoting these products, and again, it's cool to have the cool new pump product. It's cool to have, you know, like hundreds of Perform Whey, like I've got it myself. But one thing I always make sure I'm doing though is prioritising, you know, the above variables first. Again, because this is going to give you, these are like your 10%, whereas your supplements are only your 1%. You're going to get a lot more from, you know, prioritising things like your macronutrients intake, food sources, micronutrients, other, like, in comparison to just like, oh, I didn't have my vitamin C tablet at 12 minutes past 9 in the morning. Realistically, that is so far down the list, and you should only be looking to tick that if you are in a constant state of ticking the above variables as well. So yeah, that is kind of all from like a nutritional hierarchy of importance sort of standpoint. So that is all for the basics of meal planning. Again, it's kind of just scraping the surface with regards to, you know, general sort of guidances, but the main thing obviously too that kind of, it doesn't overrule these guidances, but it obviously should be kept in the forefront of your mind. Individualism trumps just about everything. Every person is different. Obviously, if you're having the higher end of a protein sort of scale when you're just about to start a diet, that would realistically be deemed as optimal on paper. But if that high amount of protein is, you know, causing digestive stress, then that's not optimal for the individual. Again, it's obviously based on individual circumstances, situations, but yeah, that's basically what really, you know, like, it should realistically be kept at the forefront of everything within physique development. Individualism is so important, and it's something that obviously you need to bear in mind. It's something that I obviously bear in mind as well with myself, clients, etc, etc. So yeah, that is all for this video. A bit of a shorter one from myself, more of a sort of educational sort of one. As I say, I hope you took something from this video with regards to meal planning. Any questions, you can fire them across on the Instagram. I would assume if you're watching this video, you'll follow the Instagram, but if you don't, it is lwsa.gym. I will pop that on the screen. Link will be in the channel description as well. But that is all for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.